Richie? Yeah! When I count to 3, you shoot the bottles out from behind him. Oh, yeah! Great!
If you are ablaze like that, you're not still trying to get revenge by shooting the other guy. Okay.
I don't know if I agree with you, Matt. I think the medical society as a whole is going to need to catch up to the 90s movies. Maybe the research will finally catch up to what Arnold Schwarzenegger and Robert Rodriguez knew for years. Welcome back, guys. You joined us. You came back, and we're so glad you did, because this is going to be a unique episode, coming off 50-50, and moving right into vampire movies. And so, just like Matt called it, the movie this week is From Dusk Till Dawn, and it's basically Twilight. Matt, did it hit your Twilight expectations?
I mean, to me, it seemed like it was basically Twilight. The first half of the movie, maybe not so much, but toward the end, got pretty Twilighty, I would say.
Definitely.
So if you're tuning in for the first time, the movie list, basically, I went into medicine, John went into movies. I missed a lot. He made a list of movies for me to catch up on. And we're going through that list. So this is 100 movies I haven't seen, and we're watching through them one at a time and kind of breaking down what we see.
That's right. So again, the movie this week is From Dusk Till Dawn. Robert Rodriguez's beautiful collaboration with Quentin Tarantino. The reason that this is on the list, it's different from some of the other ones. I love the twist. I think it's one of the best twists in any movie ever. And Matt, I was hoping you didn't know about the vampires thing when we talked last week, but I still think there's plenty of surprises in there. The collaboration between Robert Rodriguez, Tarantino, two kind of outsider, rebel filmmakers working together early in their careers, was a beautiful thing. And then obviously this one just had plenty of, oh yeah, rights. Matt, I don't want to spoil it too much, but just give me a high level. What was the initial impact from this movie? What did it hit you with?
Well, I guess first of all, it is an absolutely insane movie. It's like you could not predict what was going to happen at all. It was so full of twists and turns. It was just a really fun from start to finish. One thing I did appreciate, actually, maybe its only similarity to Master of Disguise, is that it lets you know what it is real quick. It doesn't ease you in. It just, you're right in the middle of the action, and you get the kind of the flavor of what this movie is. Right. When they're kind of standing up that gas station.
Yeah. So let me catch everybody up real quick before we start picking it apart. From Dusk Till Dawn is a, perfect 90s classic of back and forth between the violence and the cheesy monster gore. So it kind of starts off like a normal crime movie. You have the Gecko brothers, Seth, who's the mastermind, played by George Clooney. He's basically just trying to keep things together. And his younger brother, Richie, played by Quentin Tarantino, who's basically just constantly, making everything worse. He's a huge liability on the whole operation. And they hold up a bank. They're on the run from pretty much all of Texas. They kidnap this teller, and they end up running into Jacob, a former pastor, played by Harvey Keitel, and his two kids. And he forced them and their RV as a way to get into Mexico so they can lay low and, cross the border, escape the state troopers and everybody that's chasing them down. So they end up going to their rendezvous point where they're supposed to meet this cartel guy. And it's this, crazy dive bar, trucker bar called the Titty Twister. And at that point, the movie just really takes a hard turn fast, pretty much flips genres, becomes just another movie. And so it goes from like a gritty crime thriller, and then it's just like this crazy campy creature flick. It's a la Evil Dead, just total chaos. So the group, Jacob the pastor and then the Gecko brothers have to team up, improvise weapons, figure out, with some of the survivors in the bar, how to survive until sunrise, when all the bar patrons essentially turn into vampires who are trying to harvest them further blood. It's bloody, it's ridiculous, and it's just totally awesome. Just 90s film magic. Matt, first watch through, give me some initial first watch thoughts.
So, I think it felt kind of like 3 different movies smashed together.
Yeah.
So the first one is kind of the brothers on the run. The second one is them in Mexico in this bar killing vampires.
Yeah.
And then the third one is the last 33 minutes of the movie, which is just like rated R vampire Home Alone. Basically. They're just like
It's perfect. It's a great way
improvising
to
all
put
these
it.
wacky weapons. And they're using super soakers and jackhammers and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yes.
And one thing that occurred to me as they're slaying all these vampires is if I was running this kind of scam as these vampires, I would not have any wood in my establishment because that really ended up being their demise. The whole place is full of wood spikes. They have a pool table full of pool cues, for crying out loud. Like, it's the perfect vampire killing weapon.
That's a very good point. Yeah, I mean,
So
there's all kinds of liabilities in there for them. It's amazing that they've been able to exist for however many hundreds of years. All valid points.
yeah, I mean, so that was the first thing that occurred to me as they start slaying these vampires. Like, man, there's stakes everywhere. Like, you can spike them on all the chairs, on the tables, which they do.
Yeah.
One of my other kind of first thoughts, which this part really caught me off guard, is that the vampires suck. Like, the vampires all pop out and start trying to kill people, and they all get murdered. All of them. Every last one of them gets decimated. And I just thought it was going to be worse for the humans.
Yeah.
And they just destroy them all.
Right.
And like, if these vampires have been running this since like ancient times or whatever, as they kind of imply at the end of the movie, like,
right.
Was this their first night? Are these like the interns or something?
Because you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere.
They got crushed.
Yeah, it turns out that
it wasn't even close.
Their big weakness is like a bank robber, and then like a pastor and his like Asian son. That's the trifecta that they can't stop.
Right. Which they never explain, by the way.
No. Yeah, no, they were. I agree with you. They weren't great. No, I've seen this movie probably 5 or 6 times. First thing that jumps out to me is just George Clooney. He just has this like unmatched ability to be charming in any situation or role. Like he is this like despicable, like, cop killer, bank robber, kidnapper. And I'm like, I mean, he's a good guy. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt. All right. He's trying. He's a good brother. He's trying his best. He just has that effect. That's the George Clooney effect. The interesting point, actually, this was his first big role, or his first movie role, out of ER. So this was really how, the audiences were brought to George Clooney, on the silver screen. My other thing is,
I did not realize that.
Yeah. So I thought he did a great job. He picks up right like he's been doing it for forever. He really
looked young.
Yeah.
In the movies.
Yeah.
But I guess I didn't realize it was that early on in his. I mean, how long was he on ER though? That show's been on forever.
Yeah, forever. But still, I mean, to jump right into a movie like this is not an easy role. And so, it's like, all right, you've been like on essentially a soap opera for forever. And they're like, hey, Tarantino wants you to be on his next film. Like, oh, sweet. He's the big character, the new character director, but it's about vampires, titty twister. And hey, he took a shot and he crushed it. Tarantino's writing with Robert Rodriguez is like, such like his style and the mix of his like style, his cool style and the campiness with Tarantino's writing over it is such like a weird mixture that you don't think would work, but it just works perfectly. And that's, I think, that what makes this one of the favorites, of mine and something I wanted to put on this list. And the main thing is every time I watch this is like I could wish I could go back to the first time. I don't remember watching it for the first time. I don't remember if I knew the premise or not, but I always wish like, man, I wish I was watching this just thinking it was like going to be like this like crime thriller about these like two sadistic bank robbers who kidnap people and what's going to happen, and just having no idea that the vampires are going to jump out, because it really is such like a hard known.
Yeah, I wish I had not known it was a vampire movie, because that would have been such a great twist if you didn't know about it. Which I actually wanted to ask you about. When this movie came out, was it, like with the previews and everything, was it pitched like a vampire movie? Or did they try to keep that a mystery?
Yeah, unfortunately, probably. Like I watched the trailer in the 90s, and like big, studios, they're not going to take a risk like that. They're not going to take a risk with the audience of tricking them into, even if it's like the effect of it's amazing, the audience is going to have to go knowing what it is. So those sort of things don't really exist outside of like, and maybe a Netflix movie nowadays that they don't really advertise, that you just kind of stumble upon and it has this crazy twist. But yeah, back then, anytime they're going to spend that money, release it, they are going to, in the theaters, everybody pretty much knew what it was. And so that's why I'm like, it would be so intrigued to watch this through. Maybe I'll watch it with my wife or something. I'll force her to watch it and trick her. I'll trick her and just show I won't see it coming.
Like I said, not a family-friendly movie, but
yes,
you can pull that off.
I should have put that on at the beginning. This is not a family-friendly movie. This is not something that you're gonna, if you're a child watching this, ask your parents if you can watch this movie before doing this episode. And honestly, if they say yes, you should probably call CPS or something. It's not a good movie for kids. Yet I probably watched it when I was a teenager, so a young teenager / kid. But it was fun back then. Matt, what were some of the scenes that kind of, jumped out at you? Some of the more explosive scenes.
So I think my favorite single scene of the whole movie is when the pastor, I can't remember his character name, but
Jacob, yeah.
When he is sitting under the bar when all the bats get in, and he realizes he has a baseball bat, and he reaches over and there's a shotgun, and then he fits the baseball bat into the shotgun to make a cross, and then he starts like shooting them with it and then cocking it with the baseball. That's like the coolest. I was blown away by that. That was awesome. It was a very cool thing to include.
Yeah,
and it was done really well. And at that point, you think he's doomed anyways. And it caught me off guard. It was very cool. There's a couple of things as far as like the explosiveness that didn't really make a ton of sense, but it because of the movie, it didn't need to.
Yeah.
So one of the parts is when the son character is dying and the sister is gonna shoot that bullet at the vampires. Like 9 of them explode with the one bullet, and they just don't talk about it after that. Like that whole scene is just and everything's gone.
Yeah, the vampire science was pretty unpredictable. Like it wasn't really consistent throughout the movie. Sometimes you stabbed them and they would die. You could cut off their limbs. They would melt. Sometimes, like they were like the evil witch from Wizard of Oz.
Right? Yeah, they liquidate.
Sometimes they were zombies. Like they would have like their heads were existing, and sometimes they were exploding. Maybe there's different factions of them. I don't know the intersocial, maybe there's different levels of them that you earn better deaths. And those were like the low level guys, the bat vampires. I mean, talking about you're talking about like how it kicks off in the movie, and the very opening scene with the gas station clerk, John Hawkes, amazing actor, So that whole scene was suspenseful and still kind of fun in a very Tarantino way. That's where it kind of kicks off when you hear the writing. You're introduced to like Richie, and you're starting to get the sense like, okay, this guy's not fully right in the head. And then there's the big shootout, and the way that they end up the guy is, Richie, you shoot the alcohol above him. He throws, the paper towel or the toilet paper above him, turns into flames. The guy's freaking out, burning, and the popcorn starts popping off, which is such like a nasty but also kind of, awesome detail for that scene.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he's covered in popcorn,
But,
and as he's burning, like popcorn starts going on.
While we're talking about that was one of my like initial "oh yeah, right" moments.
Yeah,
because like just realistically, if you are ablaze like that, you're not still trying to get revenge by shooting the other guy, like. So
I don't know if I agree with you, Matt. I think the medical society as a whole is going to need to catch up to the 90s movies and see a few of those 90s movies, and then maybe they'll come around. Maybe the research will finally catch up to what Arnold Schwarzenegger and Robert Rodriguez knew for years.
It's hard to do a controlled trial on that kind of thing. A lot of ethics violations trying to get that through, unfortunately.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah, we'll have to try it on pigs or something first.
Please be in the placebo group. Please be in the placebo group.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, but popcorn fire, that's just the total Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino scene to happen. I think that and you hit on the instruments. That is a kind of trademark Robert Rodriguez thing. I think there's probably a couple more Rodriguez movies in this list, so you'll start to notice it. He's always creative with his props and with his weapons, especially in Desperado. The opening scene is, sorry, spoiler alert, but he basically takes out all these bad guys with a guitar that's a gun that's in like an acoustic guitar. It's just a very Rodriguez thing. His weapons are always creative. I think one of my favorite scenes is the when everybody's turning into a vampire and you have that band that's playing on stage when it's just the regular bar, and then everybody turns into vampire, and then the band are vampires for some reason, and all of their instruments are just like mangled bodies that are just turned into like guitars.
Yeah,
and it was like a spinal cord as a saxophone.
Yeah, I did not enjoy that. I did not. Every time they showed that, I was like, "Oh, gross."
The bass just had like the skull that was just sort of flopping.
Yeah. Also, they didn't for some reason the band just didn't engage in any combat.
They don't need to.
They just stand there the whole time, and then when they realize that they're the last vampires, they just explode out of the room.
Peace.
And then no one's worried they're going to come back.
No.
To eat them.
No, those guys have their role. They have their role. They're like the guy, like in like the Revolutionary War days where there's the guy that's like the freaking like the flute player. That they were that essentially. Their role there was just get everybody hyped to keep them, together. So what a wild job that would be, by the way. Not trying to switch movies here, but if you're in like the friggin' Sapphire, you're
the guy on the piccolo.
Yes, freaking the rhythm section. I'd like to see that nowadays. I'd like to see
those guys.
Can you imagine nowadays? Like we're in like freaking Afghanistan. Like get down, and they were like dunk, 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 dun, 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 dun. Just freaking marching band out there, just really setting the tone. So
that's funny.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought that scene was great. It was a little gross, but yeah. I mean, I like how the movie pretty quickly affirms that all the typical vampire rules apply. Or at least in terms of killing them, like they're staking their heart and all that stuff. And like one of them's like, oh yeah, I saw Peter Cushing does that all the time. So like there's sort of like they're in the world where we know about vampires, but they're still pretty shocked that this is all happening. Yeah, that this is happening to them.
That whole thing was so great. I like so when they're having that discussion where they're like, okay, so I don't believe in vampires, but I do believe my own eyes.
Right.
And we all agree that what we're fighting is vampires? And they're like, yes, those are vampires. We agree. He goes, okay,
right.
What do we know about vampires? And then they're going through the list. All right, well, staking it through the heart seems to work pretty good. They don't like holy water and crosses.
Right.
And like something about silver. It's like, no, that's werewolves. Like, I think there's something about silver and vampire. The girl's like, well, do you have any silver?
Right.
No. Like, all right, well, it doesn't matter then. Which is really, really good.
Writing. Some of it is a little, some of the guys, they get bit and they turn it immediately. And some of the guys, there's delayed reaction. I don't know what the calculation is on how far it is away from their heart. Maybe is that like a zombie effect?
Who knows?
I haven't quite nailed down the science. There's also some pretty inconsistency in terms of like when they turn to vampires.
Yeah.
Like what they are. Like some of them turn into like full on like monsters.
Right.
And like, Richie Tarantino's character just turned into like Kelsey Grammer, basically.
Right. Just him with a bigger head.
Which is basically just Kelsey Grammer. It's probably just what Kelsey Grammer looks like now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That was fun.
And then the veteran guy, the Vietnam vet guy just turned into Baraka from Mortal Kombat.
Right. No neck,
just pure mouth. Just became basically a puppet.
Right. Every single vampire had its own kind of style. Mm-hmm. Some of them were like half and half. Some of them were like trolls.
Mm. Machine at the end just turned into a rat because why not?
Yeah, that was nice.
Which like let's take this up a notch.
Right,
we're gonna see what other kind of like creepy mammals that our guys can be.
Why not a rat? And that was after he had his head pulled off.
Yeah,
with his own whip, no less.
So rat is the obvious next step.
Yeah, rat's the new vampire. That's what they're always saying.
That's true. So, but yeah, I think the just using the overall vampire rules was fun. It kind of made us feel, somewhat involved. Like we know these guys.
Right. And I think that after that was established, it really set up the last 30 minutes of the movie to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Because it was so zany and they just made all those like makeshift weapons in the back room.
Right.
And they had the priests like bless the water and the super soaker.
Right.
And they filled condoms with holy water.
Little grenades.
Yeah.
Holy water grenades.
It's just a funny irony that they've had to put it in condoms.
So you hit on something a little bit of the structure of the movie. I know we're spending a lot of time kind of making fun of the zombie lore. I mean, the vampire lore and the, the creatures and all this stuff. But kind of hidden in there was a few, character development type things that are actually pretty good. And I think one of those that I enjoyed was Jacob, was the minister, is that he was one that kind of hidden in this ridiculous crime thriller turns into vampire movie, was essentially a guy who's dealing with the death of his wife and reeling from that and questioning his faith and essentially deciding he doesn't want to be a minister anymore. It's a really like powerful scene there at the beginning where he's talking to his kids, he's talking to his daughter. And, he essentially says that every person, doesn't matter if you're a priest or a pastor or a Buddhist monk, that when you commit your life to the Lord as your job, there's always kind of that moment of doubt that creeps in there where you look yourself in the mirror and you say, am I a fool? Mm-hmm. Which I think, anybody, not only just people with faith, like that was a powerful moment of sort of vulnerability in his doubt and his anger at God.
Right. And being honest with his kids about it, which is not easy to do if you're also kind of the you want your kids to, even if you walk away from the faith, I think a lot of people would generally want their children to remain in it.
Right.
Just in case kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
But
yeah. And then through that, he was really the kind of the one that stepped up. Richie's the one in charge because he's the one with the gun. I mean, not Richie. Seth is the one with the gun. He's the one with charge. He's the one that calls the shots. But as the movie's going on, even before the vampires start coming out, you can see Jacob starting to get Seth's respect, a little bit when they're having the drinks, and Seth's just kind of being an ass, honestly. And Jacob looks at him and he says, you don't get it. Like, that's the most foolish thing about you. You don't understand. You've won.
Right.
Like, enjoy it. The whole state of Texas was after you.
Right.
And
the
you
FBI.
escaped. Right.
Yeah.
Everybody was after you. Enjoy
and
it.
You've won. Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. That was great. That was a great part. I liked the part where after they had that initial bout, and there's like just the family, and then those other, like the 3 guys, and then the family.
Yeah.
And he's going through and taking stock of what kind of weapons do we have, and the fact, okay, well, we got a minister, so you're like a great weapon for us because you can pray, you can make holy water.
Yeah.
He's like, but you walked away from your faith. So you got to decide, are you a faithless minister, or are you a mean MFing servant of God? And then he says, the next line is so beautiful. He goes, I'm a mean servant of God.
Servant of God.
That's exactly what I would have done.
Right. Right.
That's how I would have said that line.
Right.
So
I don't want to curse.
Right. He's just newly back in the faith. He can't be cursing like that. So
right.
It was a great moment, and good for the character development of him too. That sort of return back to his normal, right? We're kind of right before the end, so to speak.
Right. Right.
I did think last point about that little arc. I thought it was interesting that he was killed with the holy water that he had just blessed. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think, again, spoiler alert, sorry guys, but that whole back and forth was kind of heartbreaking in the sense of, I guess it goes back to the nihilism of Tarantino writing, and in that sense that you want the happy ending, and that basically they finally bonded together. He's finally healed. He returned to his faith. All of a sudden, they're going to fight out as a family. And then he immediately pretty much, I think he gets bit and he knows he's going to turn. And I think he knows, even though he makes his kids swear that if he gets bit, they got to shoot him.
Right.
And he knows they're not going to. Mm-hmm. So, he essentially is going to give himself up. And then, of course, as soon as he turns into a vampire, he bites his son. And so it's like now he's taking his son down with him. Yeah. And then the daughter is forced to kind of kill him too. And then kind of leads to the exploding.
I was going to say a lot. There's a few moments where they use that exploding to great effect. One is when they've just cleared the bar of all the vampires and they're all laying on the ground. And then the Nam guy says, aren't they supposed to burst into flames or something? And immediately they all set on fire. and then at the end, when the sunlight starts to break through to kill the remaining vampires, and then I guess his guy's name's Jose, who shows up at the end.
Yeah. Cheech Moran. He goes, what are they, psychos or something?
They look like psychos? Is that what they look like? They were vampires. Psychos do not explode when sunlight hits them. I don't give a how crazy they are.
That was such a great part.
A fun little note about that, by the way. So the guy at the end, Jose or whoever, the like cartel guy, is played by Cheech Moran, Cheech and Chong, who's in the movie 3 times. He's buddies with Robert Rodriguez, and so I guess he just wanted to hire him a bunch, and so he plays that guy. He plays the guy, who's kind of like the carnival barker at the beginning, calling them all in.
Yeah,
and he plays the Border Patrol guard. So
I actually didn't catch that one.
the guy who knocks on the window and he's coming in. Yeah, so he kind of plays all of those guys.
Interesting.
So he's throughout the movie.
Yeah, when he was the caller guy, I didn't understand why they were so mean to him. They just like beat him up mercilessly for no reason.
Yeah. And then the big guy, gets involved. Which okay, so that leads me to something. We have this segment every week. Every time you see a movie, this one's full of rights. Literally, probably like 70% of the movie is right. But one of my rights I'll throw out there for consideration is the big biker guy. He turns into a vampire later on, and then the Vietnam guy for some reason can punch through his body and pull out his heart. Kind of like Dumb and Dumber style, like. Right, and it's still beating. The guy's good, right? But somebody got the heart and then stabbed the heart with a stake.
it was Mr. Machine.
That's it. Machine stabs it with the pencil, and then he explodes. It's like, what's the rules on that? He's got like a Wi-Fi connection between his heart and his body. Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that one. What's it pumping? It's out of his body. It's beaten. There's no blood flow. It doesn't work like that.
It's just throwing vibes. Just throwing vibes.
The blood's pumping on vibes.
Yeah.
When I was first watching through it, I thought that was going to be my biggest right. But then they actually kind of explained why you can do that. So not the Wi-Fi heart, but I was going to say that when the guy punched the heart out, I was like, oh, come on. But then they explained that their bodies are mushy.
Why?
I don't know. But Mr. Machine,
mushy body?
Yeah, Machine says they're all mushy and soft.
Yeah.
Like you could push anything right into them. If you punched one hard enough, their head would pop off. And then his head pops off later. It's kind of foreshadowing.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. No Robert Rodriguez movie would be complete without a Danny Trejo.
Serve food here, Jose?
Best in Mexico.
I kind of doubt that.
Machete, being in there, which I gotta say, usually when you say that guy doesn't age, it's a good compliment. But like, Danny Trejo has just always looked like one of the vampires, and then just stay that way. Right. And somehow this movie came out like 30 years ago.
He doesn't look any different.
No, he just has always looked like his vampire self. I did love his. I think his was probably my favorite vampire death, when it's on the pool table and they stab him and he melts, and then his eyeballs roll into the holes.
I didn't notice that.
That was a good one. I liked that.
My medical sort of, it's not really right so much as a thing that is very common in movies like this. So this is probably going to come up again. But when they're in the car at Border Patrol and they're, and Seth knocks Richie out. Well, first of all, it doesn't just work. Every time you knock somebody in the head, they're going to go out. And second, if you're ever hit in the head so hard that you lose consciousness, you need to be in a hospital. Like, that is a big deal. They do this in movies all the time. But like, the odds of you having, and then Quentin's character woke up with amnesia of the event. And that's like a huge red flag waving. Like, this guy's got a real problem here. He's got a brain injury for sure.
Yeah, well, he had a lot of problems. What is this, like, paranoid schizophrenic? What is it? What's his affliction?
So that is probably more than one thing, but he definitely has some sort of psychosis because he did hallucinate something.
Yeah,
that we know for sure.
Right,
where he thought that girl said something to him in the hotel that she did not say.
Right,
but he seemed to believe it, which means he didn't have insight. That's what we call that. So, some people who have psychotic features where you're hallucinating, either auditory or visual or sometimes tactile hallucinations, but that's more, it's not so common with psychosis as it is with like drug withdrawals and things like that. But yeah, so some people are aware that what they're hallucinating isn't real. It's sort of rare that they have that insight, but it makes a huge difference in their outcomes. So he did not have insight. So he was clearly a psychopath, or had psychopath is kind of a. I don't think you're going to find that in the diagnostic manual,
Right.
For psychiatric stuff. But I think it's more antisocial personality disorder is kind of the more accurate term for what he had.
Right.
With he doesn't have a lot of regard for other people's lives. You can't really see how it's impacting people. He doesn't care.
Right.
He as soon as he has opportunity to be selfish and do what he wants, he does it. Like the second his brother walks away, he's just an absolute loose cannon.
Yep.
So he has more than one thing going on, but definitely some sort of psychosis.
Yeah.
For
I mean,
sure.
I think that was one of the things that did make me sympathize with Seth, George Clooney's character a little bit, is that I think he cares for his brother. And I think he realizes that his brother has huge issues. There's even that one scene where he's like, "Why are you like this? Is it because of me? Like, did I do this to you?"
Right.
And so I think he partially feels responsible for how much of a psycho, that Richie is.
Right.
Which is probably why he's, bringing him along, and I don't know, kind of feel bad for him a little bit.
Yeah. And I like that character, Richie. He was so evil. You knew for sure he wasn't going to survive the movie.
Yeah.
And we should make up some sort of parameter for that. Like the Richie quotient. Like if you're that evil, you're going to die.
Yeah. In the end, Clooney and then the daughter, they got out, they rendezvous with the guy. I think he says something along the lines, he's like, "Why did you choose this place?" And he's like, "I don't know. It's just kind of out of the way."
One place is as good as another.
Another one place is as good as another, which I was kind of hoping, like, if I was going to rewrite that line or pitch a line for it, it would have been something like, "Heard they have the best food in Mexico." It's a callback to Danny Trejo's line.
Right.
I think it's an opportunity for a callback there. So highly unrealistic, some really memorable, fun parts. Let's do kind of our ratings here. We'll start on the story side of it. Out of 10, Matt, what are you giving this rating on the story side?
Yeah, story side, I gave it a 3, because I think it was more sensational than like a great plot. This was just like a sandbox. This was a really fun movie, but it's not because the story was earth shattering. It's just like, all right, these guys go to a bar and it's full of vampires and have to shoot their way out. So that's a fun movie, but not the best story.
Yeah, I'm pretty much with you on that. I have the story at a 4. I put it at a 4 because I think it's really unique what it does in terms of taking a really well written, like, kind of thriller, scary crime drama, and then just completely flips on its head. That's unique. But yeah, that would be a 4. On the rewatchability scale, I have it at an 8. It's super fun to come back to. I highly enjoyed this. That's part of the reason I love this show, is just because I get to go back and rewatch these movies, and I get to do it from the lens of enjoying it with you for the first time. It's not going to be something I rewatch every day. Just because the source content, I don't know how much I really want to put that in my life, but it's a super fun ride. So I've got it at an 8.
Yeah, I have rewatchability at a 9. Just because I thought it's such that last 30 minutes, I wanted to immediately rewind and watch it again. Just because it was so fun. There's so much, like so many details I wanted to go back through and kind of check out. The I was in Nam's speech was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know, just it was very over the top, wacky. I really enjoyed a lot of it. I could have watched again.
Yep. What are you thinking on the emotional impact side of it?
I gave that a 2, so pretty low on emotional impact. It has that, the minister coming back to his faith piece of the story, and it has kind of the brothers, and one of them's kind of messed up, and the other brother's trying to help him out to have as most normal life as he can. So those things were good sort of emotional elements, but they were kind of drowned out in the chaos of the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I've got a 2 as well. Especially coming off of 50-50, and I think it's an unfair comparison when you do it from an emotional standpoint. When you go, dealing with your best friend has cancer to,
Right.
I'm a minister. So pretty low in the emotional side of it. And then now we'll just do sort of our own individual ratings from a filmmaking perspective and from a medical science perspective. Matt, why don't you go first? How realistic was this on the medical side?
Right. Science realism, I gave it a 3.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and that's just going back to Master of Disguise, really.
That's like the midline, or
no, Master of Disguise with the nose biting off and spitting it back on.
Yeah,
that's it. That's, if there was a 0, that's what that gets. So that's kind of the one. We've only got 2 movies extremes under our belt. So
right.
So 3 because mostly like the hand wound stuff. Arms are getting pulled off and things like that. So I don't know about that.
Right.
But they're mushy, apparently.
That's true. Just grabbing the Wi-Fi heart. On the filmmaking side, I've got it as 6, which maybe surprised some of you. I love Robert Rodriguez. I love his style. I love the campiness of it. I think, the writing was fantastic. It's got some things to it that are obviously cheesy, and it's not going out and winning tons of awards. I don't think it was really intended to, but for what it is, which is a fun kind of, I think a movie like this is meant to be watched at like a drive-in movie theater, right? In which it's supposed to be fun and campy and kind of ridiculous, and then have some awesome action, awesome music, and maybe surprise you every once in a while with the characters in it. So I got a 6. So that brings our total scores to a 20 for me and a 17 for Matt.
Yeah, 17 for me.
All right. So you made it through. You made it out of the titty twister into the light. And we're moving on. We're moving on down the list. We're done with 2, moving on to number 3. Hate to keep doing this to you. I'm not trying to intentionally jerk you guys around, but we're moving to another pretty hard direction with next week's pick.